Marvel fans, what's up? It's your man's Armand here for E equals MCU with my Miss Marvel review. A little late. I was trying to get my daughter to go on camera and do something different, do something with me, but she hasn't quite grasped onto it yet. She's still a little young for Miss Marvel as far as grasping her attention yet. So maybe another time, but I did want to get in my 2 cents on the Miss Marvel first episode, Generation Y. And first off, let me say I already knew. I have been making videos saying that this wasn't necessarily going to be for me. I understood that, knew that going into this, but let me just say I absolutely love this show so far. I have not been excited for a Marvel Disney Plus show. I think this is the first time since WandaVision that I'm anticipating each week what I'm gonna get, and kind of in a sense of I don't know what I'm gonna get, and I'm just excited for it. But a lot of the shows I was excited for all of them because I've liked all of them so far because I am a shield. But they don't all grab you the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate each one of them for what they were, but this one, it intrigues me the most because there's so many question marks surrounding it, and I'm going to get into that in this review as far as like what we're going to get out of the show, and because it's a new hero and her introduction. But let me just first say, Iman Vellani is just adorable as Kamala Khan. Like, instantly, like, she is on the level like with Tom Holland, or like I've heard people say RDJ, Chris Evans, as far as with her character. Like, she is Kamala Khan. And I think they absolutely nailed the casting on this. I think the whole family, the casting that they have, I know early in production there was a lot of controversy about some of the actors not being Pakistani, or they were like Indian. And, there was a thing about that. And then there was something about, I can't even remember, I have to dig it up. There was something about the Bruno casting, but I'm cool with all of it so far. The casting, the acting, the story, and I knew it was going to be good because the two guys that did this are the two guys who did Bad Boys for Life, and I like that movie. I really thought that they brought a breath of fresh air to it, as they are doing to this. So I'm actually hoping that this show turns into a reoccurring show, kind of like Loki, where you're getting a season 2. I'd like to get 2 or 3, maybe 4 seasons of Miss Marvel's story, interacting and everything, and understanding that she is going to be coming up in the Marvels coming up soon, so her story is going to always continue. But man, they really need to get her in the universe and just interlock with everything. I would love to see her appear in Spider-Man. I would love to see her collab. Well, I'm going to save that because I got a couple things I know that's coming up. So let's just start off by the opening scene. Her doing the retelling of the Endgame. There's a lot of Easter eggs in that. I'm not going to go over all of that with you, but I really like how they did that. And let me just say, the Scott Lang podcast, I think Marvel, if they're not already, for Quantumania, they should be recording some episodes of that to either use for promotion, like they could just put them on Disney Plus, and they would have to have Luis, and I didn't see that. They need to say co-starring Luis, and him and Luis should be telling these stories and doing it on the podcast. I would pay for that. Like, they either need to like put the podcast out on Disney Plus as part of like content, or like have them in the shows where they're actually like doing the vocals or whatever, and she's like listening to the podcast. Like, that's Marvel. You're missing out on something special right there, let me just say, first of all. Now, with that said, the opening scene with her doing the driver's test was hilarious. Her backing into the driver teacher's car is kind of funny because my niece is this age, and I just recently took her to her driver's test, and I was fairly accurate as far as how teenagers feel about getting their permit and like learning how to drive and just being on that level. So I thought that was very accurate. And then the funny part was the parents, man. Like, the fact that they're teaching her or saying that you shouldn't have her on the road with other drivers, and you expect her to check the mirrors every time and turn the turn signal. Like, the parents are hilarious with how they take up for her and how they're teaching her how to drive and why she can't drive. But I thought that was funny. But this is like the high school thing. You got the Chloe character that she ends up saving. There's gonna be, I think, more to tell with that. Now, just a couple things about the Chloe character. When she went to the Avengers Con, she was dressed as Ms. Marvel, but the original Ms. Marvel and not Captain Marvel. But she had the Captain Marvel colors, but she looked like the Miss Marvel from the comic books, the early comic books. And that was telling for a couple reasons, because that's how the character was depicted before, and they adapted that. And then the funny thing is that makes it so meta is that you have the parents telling her they didn't want her, wearing tight clothing like the rest of the girls, and that's why they had a problem with Avengers Con, and that's what they were talking about. And ultimately, that's very meta, because that's the problem that Marvel had when they redid Captain Marvel and how they were going to depict her in live action. So, bravo to them. Nice little tidbit. What do I want to get into next? Let's get into the embiggening powers, because this bangle, I got some theories on this whole bangle thing. I've heard it floated out there somewhere, a couple places, but the first person I want to say and give them their props, give them their flowers, is Trinity from Second Street Marvel. He had already said, even before when the trailers first came out, he had already been lining up the dots. And me and him are big Eternals fans. He was already lining up the dots, telling you, hey, these, we're not doing the Infinity Stone saga anymore. We're in a different phase, and all of these things that they're introducing seem to have a connective tissue. And he was talking about Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. It's very similar to Kamala's and her bangle, which is very similar to the technology that the Eternals brought to Earth. And also, to add to that, Moon Knight, he was talking about how Moon Knight was related to the Eternals. And I do think that that's a through line that will in later phases probably get brought together, and then you'll go back and look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's so cool. But the cool thing about the bangle, and I know some people have a problem with her powers being changed, I'm not so sure that the powers are going to be changed. There was an interview, somebody did the interview with the two directors, and they said that this is not her final form that you're seeing her in Ms. Marvel. So this is a true origin story, and by the end of this, we may actually get the normal embiggening powers, how they're supposed to be. Now, there's a lot of theories floated out there, but when she puts the bangle on, a couple of things. One, the structure of the bangle and the power from it, that looks like it also looks like photon. I guess I don't know what we're calling her. If we're calling her photon or whatnot, but from WandaVision, her character, Tiana Paris's character, and then Captain Marvel, powers all look similar. So this is how you can tell they're all going to have some sort of connective tissue to each other. But what I do like is that the powers, the beginning, the crystal hard light, whatever they call it, goes around her, and then she's using it kind of like a Green Lantern, with her mind or whatnot. Once that shatters, and this is my theory, is that Terrigen Mist in there, and maybe she's the first one in her family to break it. And the reason why I say that is because when she puts it on, she goes to, it looks like she wants to the ancestral plane. If you look at when she flips through, when she first puts it on, those people with those eyes are different than the people that were at the Avenger Con. And at first in the trailer, I didn't notice that, but I did notice that upon rewatch. So I am speculating that her powers are more tied to her background and her ancestral background, and that's the reason why the mom knows that, she comes from a long line of daydreamers, this, that, and the third. And, I think the parents are aware of these powers. And actually, there's a theory floated out there that the parents also have powers. And what gives them cadence to that is that, somebody asked the directors about the mom having super speed powers, because she was able to put together the food for Bruno in 10 seconds. She went to the back, and then all of a sudden she had it, and she said, that's my secret. You don't worry about that. You just do your gadgets. So there is a potential chance here that her whole family are Inhumans. And yes, I do say Inhumans because I think Inhumans are still going to be at play here with the origin story. They're just going to do the Terrigen Mist. There's not going to be a Terrigen Mist bomb per se, but it sounds like the whole Terrigen Mist could be in the bangle. And that's how they're all able to use it. Maybe they all have powers. And I am starting to think that now, especially with the dad coming in with the Hulk and him making a throwaway line about super strength or something with Bruno. So I still think Inhumans is at play here. I still think the Terrigen Mist and everything is at play, and this is going to set it up. And that's what I'm most excited about, is how they handle, the whole Inhuman play of this, and then how they handle her character going forward. Like what would she be doing in the Marvels exactly? You know what? And here's the other thing. Before I go real quick, I know I'm running a little bit longer than I wanted to, but there's been rumors and it's been a spot on the credits where people found that Kate Bishop's hairstylist or makeup artist is credited in the credits, which is sparring controversy that Kate Bishop will show up as a special guest appearance in the show, which I would very much like to see. And it would make sense because they're both in the same kind of area. They're both, about the same age as far as the heroes. So that would not surprise me if she were to show up. Other thing, Captain Marvel has to show up in the show at the end of the show to lead it into the Marvels, whether that's an end credit scene or just within the the last episode or whatnot of what's going on. But I do think she's also going to show up on the show. Man, I feel like I'm just going off the top here and I probably forgot a ton of stuff, but that's all I'm gonna leave you with for this week because we got next week coming up. So just wanted to throw that out there. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about the show. Are you excited as I am? Is it as good as you think it is? As I think it is, if you think so or not. So let me know down in the comment section. Until next time, it's your boy Armand for E = MCU. I'm out.